things can get more complicated when you're asked to graph 3 or more variables on one graph. We do this because it provides a more comprehensive overlap of the data than if we had graphed all the datasets separately. To begin with, you must identify the independent variable. This is usually something like time that you don't manipulate or change and will be graphed on the x-axis. Next, we will determine how many y-axes we will need. For example, this chart here has one independent variable, time, shown here as months, and two dependent variables, temperature and rainfall. In other words, your graph will have one x-axis, which shows the month, and two y-axes displaying temperature and rainfall. You need two separate axes because temperature and rainfall have different units and scales, making it impossible to graph them both on a single axis. The completed graph will look something like this, with precipitation in inches on one y-axis, set to a scale from 0 to 10, and temperature in degrees Fahrenheit on the other y-axis with a different scale from 0 to 100. Remember that a scale is meant to be continuous, with no breaks or gaps, so try not to start your scale at 10 inches then jump to 50 inches. Begin with 0 and scale the number all the way up to your highest point, just as shown in this example. Once your scale is set and every axis is labeled, you then plot your points from your data table onto your graph. Finally, we code our data with a color or pattern, and then make a key, also called a legend, so that we can better match the line with the correct axis and the dataset. In our example, green is the bar graph that represents precipitation, and red is the line graph that represents temperature. Now our graph is complete, and we are able to more clearly compare two separate variables.